My name is Alan Hext, and I'm a traditional acupuncturist that's been in practice since 1979. My original study was with Stephen Chang in San Francisco, and I did my main training with J.L. Worsley in England in the mid-70s. And I've studied with Claude Lar and Elizabeth Rochette de la Vallée, studying Chinese classics, medical and philosophical, since 1985. And I have to say it's just been made an immeasurable effect and response on my understanding of how I'm treating people with acupuncture and the quality of the art and skill with which I use that means of therapy. And also the whole appreciation of the cultivation of the acupuncturist. And I think it's absolutely essential at this time in the transmission of acupuncture to the West that obviously there are a whole range of different approaches and accents that give a particularity to the way in which acupuncture is used, but that it's essential it be rooted in the soil of the original classical understandings, which lend depth of appreciation and comprehension, as well as enliven the whole sense of what qi is about. It's so easy, for instance, when things are translated into Western languages, for it to become distorted or for you to lose the vitality of the original vision. Let me give a simple instance of the word for point, the character for point, of an acupuncture point, which is not a point, but a shui, a hollow, a space, which allows access into the body, obviously with a needle, rather than a structure that we would think of when we're anatomically dissecting the body in Western biomedicine. Or the whole appreciation of the pathways, which gets translated frequently in the West as channels, which is a possibility. But the original character, the original appreciation is there in the terms Jinglo, the pathways that provide a warp and weft for the whole matrix of our energetic fabric. The character for Jing, meaning pathway, has an implicit understanding of an inner regulation between heaven and earth, which allows a human being to maintain their inner balance, their inner homeostasis, as they move through life and in movement and in activity, in a way that talks about a key interrelationship that when you just talk of something like channel gets lost and merely focuses on what is going on within the human being from almost an analytical point of view. Fascinatingly enough, the character for the pathways, for Jing, is also there in another context in the word for classic, which we know, for instance, from something like the I Ching, the classic of changes, or in Chinese medicine, the Neijing, the inner classic. And there you're dealing with something that encapsulates the nature of the perception of what's going on in life in a way that transcends the time and the place in which it was written, and allows, because it's so rich, it allows its understanding to speak to other times, because it contains and is composed in a way that's totally congruent with what it's talking about. In other words, its wisdom has relevance outside of its culture it was written in, and a relevance for other peoples and other times, And in other words, it has a universal power to speak to us. And these understandings are really best accessed through somebody who is a true guide, who can talk and illuminate with commentary the depth of understanding. So many of the passages in the Chinese classics are really involve a kind of chaining of characters together that provide almost like a dance to your mind in illuminating, in understanding, but also drawing you into a way of movement and into relationship in the world that is absolutely essential. For instance, it's recognized that traditional acupuncture, a main perception is encapsulated in yin-yang wuxing, yin-yang and the 5 elements. And yet it's so easy for a Western analytical mind to dissect, to separate, to analyze in a way that takes you out of the interrelationship, yin-yang at the level of 2, or the wuxing, the level of 5, and to start to see them as separate rather than as something dealing with the relative world in interaction.